Hello everyone, here we are on one of my famous walk and talks. I am Walt. Here we are with Principle 92 of the 100 Ways to Motivate Yourself series by Steve Chandler. So, our 92nd principle is actually two different principles. One principle being that no one's coming, okay, that no one is going to come and help you, and the other principle being that you can't leave a place you've never been. So let's talk about each of these. The fact that you can't leave a place you've never been is pretty significant, and I would call this one basically the map problem. So when it comes to a map, you know, you're trying to get from one place to another, and say you're using a map and not a GPS as we would these days, you have to know where you are in order to figure out how to get where you want to go, okay? Say you want to go to a movie theater, for example, okay? This specific theater, this location, you're going to see this movie. So, if you don't know where you're at, you're just like, okay, I'm going to go right to get there. Well, maybe the movie theater is 10 feet to your left. But if you don't know where you're at, then you're never going to have very good skill at, getting to your location, okay? You have to have something know where you're at. Now, if you find a landmark you know, then you can base yourself on the map, and then you can figure this out. So the key is you have to know where you're at in order for you to be able to leave there and go somewhere else. So he talks about how he's, like Steve Chandler, the author there, has tried to run from a lot of his problems in his life, thought he could escape his fears, and the case is it was a lot better to actually face up to his fears instead of trying to just ignore them all the time. And he's very right about this idea, okay? You can't leave a place you've never been, so basically figure out where you're at right now, okay? If you're in a hole here, if you have these problems, realize that. Write them down. See the fact that you actually do have these. They are real, okay? And as much as you don't like them, you can't just wish them out of existence, basically. Okay, the second part of this one here is that no one's coming. The idea that no one's going to show up and rescue you idea. And he says that even as adults, we keep coming up with ways to say, you know, I want my mommy. I want somebody else to come in and solve this problem for me. But the case is that actually independence is way better, okay? We don't want to be dependent on somebody else ever for how we feel, okay? We don't want to be dependent on them financially forever. We don't want to be emotionally dependent on them. We don't want to be all these kind of things because, you know, everything has a time limit. Everything is not going to last forever, even though some things may last almost forever or as long as they, you know, possibly can. And that's great, okay? It's just we can't expect everything to last forever, to always work. So, valuing our own independence is huge. It is very important, and it is something we can all do to live much better and happier lives. So, going after that, okay, letting go of dependency is huge. And then there's basically, at the very end, this kind of idea of let's have relationships that are interdependent, where both parties are independent and we can have them cooperate together. Instead of dependency, where you have people who are, you know, pushing back against each other to some degree because they're saying, I need you, you have to do this, instead of, well, you know, I could do this myself, but it would be better if we could cooperate on this. And so that's a huge idea out of the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. So check that out if you guys have not. It's got some great stuff on how to do that kind of material for relationships particularly. Anyway, that's about it from part 92. I will see you guys next time with part 93. So stay tuned. I'll see you then.